time's up. Great question, great answers. I wish we just had more time. But now let me recognize the gentleman from Guam, Mr. Moylan.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for setting this timely topic. Especially 2 weeks ago, the Quad 4 minister met in Washington, D.C. and announced the launch of a major new initiative. And as they clearly stated, reliance on any one country for processing and refining critical minerals further harms our economic and national security. Given this understanding, we need to strengthen both our domestic efforts and international cooperation to build more resilient and diversified critical mineral supply chains. So as part of the domestic efforts, our vast offshore seabed areas have significant potential to boost the supply of critical minerals. The Bureau of Ocean Energy Management says the Pacific Outer Continental Shelf, including the surrounding area of Guam, contains 4 different mineral deposit types. And if we can successfully utilize these resources on a commercial scale, it will greatly enhance our supply chain resilience and national security. I hope this effort will be carried out in a manner of respect both local stakeholders and the environment. Another important aspect of the international cooperation to counter China's dominance in critical minerals, China's abrupt restriction of critical material exports caused major disruption in global automotive industry and posed serious threats to defense equipment suppliers. However, we cannot leave these challenges solely to the private entities because, as we know, China employs non-market practices such as large-scale subsidies, and it's extremely difficult for private actors to compete on their own. Securing stable and reliable supply chains is an urgent issue not only for the U.S. but also international communities. So we need to develop a shared strategy and framework among like-minded countries to build alternative and resilient supply chains. So Mr. Fallon, you have great experience being the first Assistant Secretary of State, Energy Resources, and do you believe that the State Department needs additional authorities to develop international cooperation and support of private sector investment in foreign countries?
Thank you, Congressman, for the question. I would say that I believe the State Department has considerable authorities. What I think would be useful is to increase the authorities of sister agencies, the International Development Finance Corporation, over which the Secretary of State serves as the chairman. The DFC also is an entity that, by its mandate, is supposed to integrate America's foreign policy as part of their investment thesis. So I think that working with the State Department and that the body of the chair could to empower the DFC to do more, and that has a significant role for Congress in the reauthorization, to empower them to do more, increasing the investment limits, and also to allow for greater equity to be invested. I think that this capital from the DFC is catalytic in the sense that it unlocks other investors. As Jose was speaking, other countries want the U.S. investor there, but how do we get them there? How do we crowdsource additional co-investors? And this is a critically important tool. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator, of course, we know that China controls over roughly 90%, and you were talking about this question earlier as well, of all our critical minerals. But yet, we have all these minerals spread across the U.S., Australia, and parts of East Asia and beyond. So in your view, what's the most significant factor that enabled China to dominate the market? And what's the most urgent action that we and our partners should take to counter it?
I think, first of all, I want to thank you and wonderful people, your beautiful island of Guam. I've stopped there many times and I just have the most respect for the strategic position that you have for our great country in the Pacific Rim. Next of all, I really truly believe the Defense Production Act, if we announced the Defense Production Act is what we're going to use in order to have the defense of our country and our economy and all of our allies, would give us the catalyst that's going to be needed for the Development Finance Corporation to show how determined we are to make sure that we're up and running as quickly as humanly possible, be able to extract and assist all of our friends around the world in the free world, if you will, to contribute towards this. It's going to be a total all-in effort. It's not just one of us can do it. We cannot get up to speed quickly by ourselves without you and all of our friends around the world. That's what we have to rely on. And that's really how we can protect your markets also with the trade, if you will, tariffs, protecting so China doesn't come in and distort your markets that they've tried to do. We've watched how they've been very aggressive in that part of the world, and we're determined basically to defend and help you. I would say one more thing too. Is there some way that when you think about it, if it wasn't for the ore that China gets from Australia right now, what kind of a crimp would that put? What kind of a bind would they be on if we were able to, all the free world, consume Australia's ore so they wouldn't have to go to China for that market? That might be things we could do to really put a pinch on them too.
Thank you. Thank you, all. Thank you, Madam Chair. I yield back.